Coming up, a new frat has been founded on campus. How 4 students created a new community.
And tariff prices are making its way onto shelves. What products will be affected and what to expect?
All this and more right now on Newswave.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Newswave. Today is Friday, September 19th. I'm Kiara Taylor.
And I'm Baden Russell. Complaints regarding parking on campus has existed for years. As of June 28th, however, campus parking services and Trinity University Police Department have updated the parking restrictions and permits on campus. John Rouse, TUPD Assistant Police Chief, wrote in an email, quote, "The biggest change was that residential students are no longer allowed to park in upper campus parking lots during business hours. This will allow non-residential students who purchase a permit to have better access to parking to attend their classes, as well as open up some additional space for faculty, staff, and visitors," end quote. Yet, parking on campus and at City Vista is still an issue for many students. Senior Eli Carton said, quote, "They simply need to make new spots close to where people live," end quote. Until further updates are made, students looking for a space may just need to look around a little bit longer.
Epsilon ZP is the newest addition to Trinity's fraternity sorority life since Phi Sigma Chi's founding in 1996. Co-founded by a senior Alexis Ibra and sophomore Leonardo Gunsman, ZP was inspired by the success of Delta Theta Nu, a new sorority on campus containing the same goals in enriching inclusivity and community for tigers of all backgrounds and cultures. Brianna Jones, the fraternity and sorority life coordinator, expressed her thoughts on the new frat and its place on campus in an email. Quote, "I believe there is significant value in adding a multicultural fraternity to the community. It doesn't take away from the existing community, but creates another home for students who have yet to find one." Both Guzman and Ibra state their excitement for the organization as the year progresses.
The Trinity University bookstore has transitioned to a virtual bookstore model. Last month, the university worked with campus bookstore consultants to review textbook service provider options, electing to phase out Barnes & Noble in favor of a new provider. They ultimately settled on virtual bookstore provider eCampus. In making the decision, the university said it hopes eCampus will be able to, quote, "streamline and modernize the textbook adoption process, ensuring a more affordable and accessible course materials experience for students and faculty," end quote. eCampus offers nearly the exact same services that students should be used to, including the ability to rent and sell back textbooks to the bookstore. In addition to changing textbook service providers, Trinity also sought to change retail providers, ultimately selecting University Gear Shop to provide everyday items that students might need, from apparel to school supplies.
Still coming up, Uvalde CISD canceled school multiple days this week due to ransomware attacks.
And an update on next week's weather from Newswave's chief meteorologist.
Stick around. We'll be right back after a short break.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Welcome back to Newswave. Recently, Congress passed a measure that would cut funding out to public radio stations. And now the future of popular stations such as NPR and PBS are in doubt. Outlets to these stations in Texas are now feeling the heat, as according to the Texas Tribune, they face unprecedented budget cuts. According to an estimate done by U.S. Senate Democrats, Texas public radio and TV stations could lose up to $17.7 million in public funding. However, many stations, including Texas Tech Public Media, Lubbock's outlet for NPR, are planning to operate as usual for as long as they can. The station plans to avoid using layoffs and will not cut programming until they are certain they have to. In the meantime, fundraising efforts have already started. Texas Tech Public Media held a, quote, emergency fundraiser which raised $250,000. With more major events coming in the future, while these stations have been painted into a corner, they remain resilient and undeterred. Brad Burt, the lead reporter for Texas Tech Public Media, said, quote, we plan to keep doing this for as long as we still have power to the studio. Only time will tell how long these stations can hang in there.
Fall is officially about to begin, but when will the fall temperatures begin? Newswave's chief meteorologist Luke Morton has your answers. Take it away, Luke.
Hi everyone, welcome to our first Newswave episode of the 2025-2026 school year. My name is Luke Morton and I am the chief weather reporter here on Newswave, and I'm excited to be sharing weekly weather reports for you again this year. Without further ado, let's get to the forecast. Today is another summer-like day here in South Texas with highs in the upper 90s and plenty of sunshine. Saturday and Sunday will follow right in suit with mostly sunny skies and highs around 100. If you have any outdoor plans, be sure to stay plenty hydrated. The heat is still on for your Monday. However, by Tuesday we should see more cloud cover and a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. Nothing is locked in quite yet, but maybe bring an umbrella for your Tuesday classes just in case. The rest of your week looks partly to mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-90s, even though it may not feel like it, but the official first day of fall is September 22nd. I am telling you this as a reminder that if you squint, you can see cooler weather on the horizon. I know the summers here are very long in Texas, but alas, we are approaching the finish line of our really hot weather, which is something to truly celebrate. Anyways, I hope you all have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
A ransomware attack on the Uvalde CISD servers forced the district to cancel school for several days this week, according to a Facebook post from the district on September 13th. The ransomware severely affected essential systems such as phones, AC controls, camera monitoring, and more. The district stated that these systems are vital to the safety and security of its schools. Due to the threat, the schools were closed from Monday, September 15th, until Thursday, September 18th. The closure days will be replaced by previously scheduled non-working days within the current calendar. The ransomware incident also affected the dual credit courses offered through the Southwest Texas College at Uvalde High School. The district stated that the incident was reported to the FBI and a comprehensive investigation is underway to uncover the source of the malware and assess whether sensitive information was compromised.
COVID-19 infections are rising at an average of 8.9% nationwide. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, commonly known as the CDC, has reported that 24 states have seen an increase in COVID cases, including Texas. Texas has an 11.8% increase rate for infections, with very high viral wastewater activity. Texas's rise in infections follows the emergence of the new Stratus variant, low vaccination rates, and summer travel. In response to these developments, Stephen Love, president and CEO of the DFW Hospital Council, advises people not to panic because COVID is, quote, going to come back and we're going to see it from now on, end quote. As infection rates rise, the CDC suggests hand washing, wearing a mask, and avoiding contact with infected persons to prevent catching COVID-19.
Still ahead, more national news and how you may be affected by the changing job market. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 30 seconds.
How far you go in life depends on your being tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and the strong. Because someday in life you will have been all of these. All of us want to do well, but if we do not do good too, then doing well will never be enough.
The latest trend in the American workforce is called job hugging, a phenomenon where employees are holding onto their work positions out of necessity rather than desire. This marks a significant shift from the job hopping culture that defined post-COVID America, when many quit their jobs in search of better opportunities. Experts say that this new trend is another signal of a weak labor market, with job openings at their lowest since the beginning of the pandemic. A recent survey found that nearly half of all workers fit the profile of a job hugger, with 95% of those citing concerns about the job market as their primary reason. Professor Anthony Klotz, professor of organizational behavior at UCL School of Management in London, said, quote, "It completely stands to reason that as the job market slows and layoffs continue to make headlines, partly fueled by the potential for AI robots to do parts or all of some jobs, we would squeeze our jobs even more tightly than normal." While job hugging may seem like a positive for retention, experts say it can be toxic for businesses, as employees who feel stuck tend to become stagnant. The phenomenon can also have a negative emotional effect on workers, as it is often driven by fear and can keep people in unsatisfying or unhealthy environments. As the pressure of a soft labor market and looming economic downturn continue, this trend appears to be here to stay.
And now, the latest news about how one small rule could have major impacts on our environment. According to Reuters, the United States Environmental Protection Agency unveiled a potential new rule last Friday about how organizations report their greenhouse gas emissions, if at all. The new rule would allow approximately 8,000 facilities to not report their emissions. The agency justified this by claiming that the rule only hurts businesses' efficiency and does not regulate anything itself. To quote EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, the greenhouse gas reporting program is nothing more than bureaucratic red tape and does nothing to improve air quality, end quote. This comes amidst a larger rollback of collection of environmental data from government organizations like NASA. There are still a few more legislative steps for this rule to be confirmed, so as of right now, it remains off the books.
Tariffs have been a highly discussed topic in politics and economics this year, but only recently are we seeing the rise in prices start to take place. According to CBS News, the Consumer Price Index this August rose at a rate of 2.9% compared to last year, with heavily imported goods seeing the largest price increases. Companies like Home Depot, Macy's, and Nikon are unable to hit their profit margins and are now having to price their items higher to match. Coffee in particular will see a price increase, as the U.S. heavily relies on other countries to produce coffee beans. Since there are few places in the U.S. where coffee beans can be grown, other consumer goods that rely heavily on imports have begun to increase their prices, hitting items like bananas, women's dresses, car parts, household furniture, and more. Prices are rising quickly, and wages are growing a lot slower, which is resulting in a lot of strain on consumers. The White House has responded to these concerns, though, and have held strong on their claims that inflation remains low. Caroline Leavitt, a White House spokesperson, said, quote, "Since President Trump took office, CPI is tracking at a 2.3 annualized rate, consistent with low and stable inflation. Keep a close eye on prices as you grocery shop, as tariff prices will continue to impact common consumer goods in the near future."
Up ahead, the TikTok ban deadline has been extended, and Newswave sports editor Ian Strang has your weekly sports update. We'll be right back after this short message.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
I'm Ian Strang, and this is your news on the Trinity University Tigers. The Trinity cross-country team stayed in San Antonio last Friday to race at the UIW Invitational. It was a competitive field as the Tigers lined up against Texas Longhorns, Texas State Bobcats, and UIW Cardinals. Out of the 17 teams, the Tigers finished 5th in both men and women's races. Senior James Rush and Gianna Kina earned SAA Runner of the Week honors for their performances. The teams head to Hill College next Friday for their next race. Trinity football, now 2-0, played at home on Sunday against Belhaven and secured a 49-0 shutout victory. The Tigers held the Blazers to the 104 total yards, while Trinity's offense and defense combined for 462 yards. Freshman defensive back Cody Brown was named SAA Defensive Player of the Week with this performance. Trinity football is ranked for the first time this season at number 23, just 3 spots behind fellow SAA member Barry. The Tigers travel to Tacoma, Washington this weekend to play against the 1-1 Pacific Lutheran Lutes. Women's golf, ranked 18th nationally, finished 9th at the NCAA Division III Preview Tournament at Desert Willow in California. For his second-place finish at the White Bluff Tri-Match, freshman Andre Fulmer was named SAA Men's Golf Co-Athlete of the Week. The number 11 men's golf team travels this weekend to Howey in the Hills, Florida, for the NCAA Division III Preview. Men's tennis opens its season at home this weekend, hosting the Trinity University Fall Invitational. The Tigers return with ITA Singles All-American Sophomore Ryan Warren and ITA Doubles All-American Junior Kershawn Kirsten. Trinity Volleyball drops 4 spots in the AVCA poll to number 16 after losing 2 of their 3 matches last weekend during the National Invite, including a hard-fought game against the number 10 East Texas Baptist University. Junior Lauren McCarthy tallied 18 blocks over the weekend for an average of 1.42 blocks per set, second in all of Division III for the statistical category. The Tigers host their first ever SAA conference matches this weekend, facing number 15 Barry, along with Center and Rhodes. Men's soccer jumped up 2 spots to number 4 after 2 wins this past weekend. The Tigers did not allow a single goal, defeating TLU on Friday and Concordia on Sunday. They hit the road this weekend to face Hardin Simmons on Thursday and number 20 Christopher Newport University on Sunday. Women's soccer won both of its games last weekend against Hardin Simmons and McMurray. Sophomore Alex Storin earned her second consecutive SAA Offensive Player of the Week. The Tigers return to the Paul this weekend to host Concordia University on Sunday and TLU on Tuesday. That's all I have for this weekend. Be sure to come out this weekend to cheer on your fellow Tigers.
Last week, the Venezuelan government accused the United States of boarding a civilian fishing boat and occupying it. According to ABC News, Coast Guard officials stationed aboard the nearby Navy destroyer, the USS Jason Dunham, boarded the vessel in search of drugs, but found nothing, despite receiving a tip. The occupation of the boat was part of the United States' continued, quote, counter-narco-terror operations. The Venezuelan Foreign Ministry issued a statement in response, stating, quote, this operation lacks any strategic proportionality and constitutes a direct provocation through the illegal use of excessive military means, end quote. While the Venezuelan government contends the boat was within Venezuela's exclusive economic zone, U.S. officials have maintained that the boat was in international waters, making it fair game to be searched. This disagreement has not been resolved, and it remains unclear what actually happened.
Tensions have been high in Europe recently as a number of Russian drones entered the Polish airspace, causing the U.S. to take action as a part of NATO. According to the United Nations, 19 drones entered Poland on the night of September 9th, extending into the early morning hours of September 10th. Some of the drones were shot down, creating debris that could have been dangerous to civilians. The UN has said that no casualties were reported. However, some residential areas sustained damage. NBC reported last weekend that Russian officials said they had no plans to target Poland, while the Polish Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, stated that it was, quote, the closest we have been to open conflict since World War II. Acting U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Dorothy Shea commented on the matter last Friday, saying, quote, the United States stands by our NATO allies in the face of these alarming airspace violations. And rest assured, we will defend every inch of NATO territory. This statement followed NATO's launch of Operation Easter Sentry, which was created to strengthen the defense of Eastern Europe after these strikes. While efforts are being made to bring the Russian and Ukraine conflict to an end, NBC News reports that, quote, European allies have said these large-scale aerial assaults indicate that Putin has no interest in bringing the war in Ukraine to a close.
This past Monday, trade negotiations between the United States and China came to a close after 2 days of discussion in Madrid. While topics like trade and tariff rates were discussed, they were overshadowed by the looming TikTok divestment deadline. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced that, quote, it's been 2 private parties, but the commercial terms have been agreed upon. CNBC reported that Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping will talk today to discuss the terms of the deal. There were no major developments in trade negotiations as the meeting was very centered around TikTok due to the deadline, which was on September 16th. Since the announcement of the framework deal, President Trump has announced that the deadline will be pushed back to December 16th, which NBC reports, quote, was the 4th time he has bypassed federal law to prolong the deadline for the China-associated TikTok to sell its assets to an American company or face a ban. As this framework deal unfolds, Newswave will continue to keep you updated. Sadly, that's all the time we have for today.
Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Kiara Taylor.
And I'm Baden Russell. Have a great weekend.